These are stories of outdoor adventure and expert advice from folks with calloused hands. I'm James Nash, and this is the Six Ranch Podcast. Coming at you live from Baja, Mexico with Angelo from Ventana Dive Center. How are you tonight, sir?
Oh, man, I'm having a fantastic couple days so far.
This has been good. We've been working on this for a couple years, I think.
Yeah. We've been messaging back and forth, just trying to figure out how to get on the fish, and I think the time worked out, and the weather also has been in our favor while we've been out here so far.
Talk to me about what we've been doing.
Oh, man, it's been an epic couple days. So, day one, the whole group arrived, the whole team. You know, we had a couple flight issues, but we played the mission here in Mexico, how to get the man to the Greek, you know?
Yeah.
So we pretty much started calling all units, trying to get taxis and everyone organized and sent over here to this small little fishing village that we're hanging out in. Great meeting the folks, meeting all your friends, and just kind of hanging out with them and getting to know them a little bit. Mm-hmm. And then the morning started. What was it, 5:30 a.m. we started?
Yeah, a little earlier.
Yeah, a little bit earlier. I was probably like 5 a.m. and we got out on the boats and we started running far. We had a couple scout boats looking out for us, and day one's just Marlins, right? We're kind of going for the Marlins and trying to see where they're at. And I had some solid intel on their location, but we wanted just to go find those guys. So day one was just epic, where we took off on the boat. We ran maybe 4 or 5 hours all the way out there, and we started coming into just these huge bait balls of either sardines or mackerels. And on these bait balls, you have pelicans going down. Not only pelicans, seagulls, sea lions coming in there, and then also whales coming and eating the same sardine bait ball that we're looking for.
Right. And, you know, one time we were working a bait ball and a whale came up and ate the entire bait ball in one gulp. And that fin whale that swam underneath of us?
Yeah. Was that not insane or what?
That was surreal. I mean, it was like a school bus-sized animal swimming underneath of us.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
So we're all just kind of interested in the Marlins and where they're at and how they're attacking the sardines. And then just underneath us, we see that school bus and they're coming on by and looking at the bait ball that we had and kind of said, that's not the bait ball that I want, and kept on swimming. But how cool is it that we could be in the water looking for fish and we get all that marine life there?
It's surreal.
Yeah.
I mean, for me, this started about 25 years ago with a spear gun that I built in high school shop class, hunting fish in like irrigation ditches in Northeast Oregon. Growing up as a ranch kid in a rural mountain community that's 12 hours from the coast, very unlikely to become a spearfisherman, but it's something that I was interested in and continued to stay interested in, and then got the opportunity to start going to dive schools, taking it really seriously and treating it more like a profession than a passion to an extent. And I had looked at hunting marlin with a spear gun as like this peak, like this potentially achievable thing that was extremely unlikely for a guy like me. First of all, like, cowboys from Oregon don't go marlin fishing at all.
So 100%. This is not normally where you see them at.
Maybe like once on vacation somewhere. But like marlin is really thought of as this trophy fish that people are going after in very expensive boats in, you know, places that, you know, most people can't afford to even live in the first place. And then spearfishing for marlin is this whole other thing, right? It's a huge animal. It's got a spear. You're in deep blue water. It's a very dynamic, potentially dangerous situation. And you really have to go through a lot of training to be able to get to that point and build up some skills. It was also extremely nice to have somebody who was watching my back, because as it turns out, when I shot my fish, my float line had wrapped around me. And as I was figuring that out, as this marlin is taking off and I'm, you know, trying to as smoothly and as quickly as possible get myself no longer attached to this fish. I see you swimming up with a knife in your hand to cut the line, which I was grateful for.
Yeah.
But as it turns out, I got untangled, and we didn't need to get to that.
Luckily, I was probably about 45 seconds from actually cutting it, because that marlin started taking off, and as he was taking off, the line was completely wrapped around you, like around your waist there. Mm-hmm. And I saw that, and I saw the tension coming on there. And at any point, man, if they have so much force, they're such strong and fast swimmers.
One of the fastest fish in the ocean.
Right? If he just would have bolted down, you would have been going down with him. And that's when I saw that. I was like, oh, man, we're not going to let this happen. Pulled the knife, and I was going to do it. I started grabbing the tension on there, and I was just going to kind of see where it was. But luckily, the marlin started coming up more and releasing that tension a good amount. And then I kind of looked back at you, and you fully untangled yourself. And I was like, wow, we avoided a serious situation here. And not only that, if we would have cut it, then we would have lost the marlin, which was kind of would have been sad too. I mean, you're a great person. We might be able to replace you, but the marlin, we would have lost that one. That's what would have been sad.
That's the real heartbreaker. Agreed. And getting down here for me for this trip was also an ordeal. The drive was 52 hours and 12 minutes long.
Yeah, that's insane.
I spearfished my way down Baja. I didn't bring any food with me besides like tortillas and hot sauce. So I was just eating the fish that I was spearing along the way, which was a great experience. I did get stopped and heavily searched twice at military checkpoints, and both times they were talking about arresting me.
Totally.
First time they let me go. Second time I had to give them some cash. Yeah. Just kind of that hustle.
That's that being white in public in Mexico. You know, you got to be ready to pay some bribes, and you may have not done anything wrong.
Right.
You're just driving, and you have American plated cars, and they're like, yeah, we're going to get them for something. Even if they get a couple sodas out of your cooler.
Yeah.
That's what they're looking for. They're looking for anything, any of the checkpoints you go through here.
Yeah. I need to load up with some cold drinks and some cigarettes before I head back north again.
100%. Just give them the Red Bulls. You start hooking them up with some Red Bulls. They'll like have a cooler, have some Red Bulls and Coca-Cola and Sprite and whatnot, and start passing them out. Yeah. They'll just be like, oh yeah, no problem. They won't even search your car anymore.
Yeah. That's the flex. That would have been cheaper than what I did. But anyways, it's been incredible. I don't want to fish story too hard. We did end up getting a marlin for every single person before noon on day one. So we had 5 marlin who were shot by spear guns, free diving, that were landed and on ice before noon the first day.
Yeah, how incredible is that?
Surreal. Absolutely surreal.
And then another cool part about it is, all the marlin that we're getting, we're fully eating them here while we're on your trip, and then we're smoking them, and you guys are going to be able to take it back, and you'll be back at your house, and you'll be telling the story as everyone's sharing the marlin of how you caught that marlin, where it was at, what the conditions look like. And then you'll be like, yeah, and then the locals went and smoked it for us as well. And you just kind of get to taste the whole situation as you're sharing those stories with the marlin here. So it's not like we're just shooting marlin for fun, right?
No.
That's not the game plan. Yeah. Our game plan is 100% use every bit of the marlin that we can. We got the bills at souvenirs and the tails as well, and just kind of use as much as possible, smoke it, eat it as much as possible, and then take it on back with you, right?
And we're even grinding up bones to use as bait.
Yeah,
right?
Yeah.
Nothing's going to waste here.
I just put a full wahoo into a grinder, and we then put them into some little bags, and we're going to be using that for bait tomorrow while we're on some cool dive sites that I know. And what I like about that is it brings up some of the bigger fish, right? They smell that bait there, and they're like, "Oh yeah, we're coming in." Yeah. And so that'll be coming up, and also those fish that we'll be catching, same thing. You guys are going to be loading them up and taking them back home with you. So
guiding spearfishing is a huge challenge. And, I've been a guide for a long time. I've guided lots of different things. The skill requirement to even be entry level at spearfishing is fairly high. And then you've got people coming in that you don't necessarily know what that skill level is. So you've got to deal with that full spectrum.
Yeah.
You can't buy gear here. So they're showing up with the gear that they've got.
That works sometimes.
Much of which is in a state of disrepair. So we've been fixing gear every single night out here with some of the stuff the guys have brought. And And while I don't see spearfishing as something that is inherently dangerous, I do see it as something that has huge consequence that can occur really quickly.
Yeah.
And with you as a guide, when you've got multiple people in the water that you need to be keeping an eye on, that is a tough challenge.
Absolutely, man. Yeah, so like, we'll go back to the gear thing. You know, every trip I go on, there's always someone's gear breaking, some shaft, some band, something like that. So you just got to make sure, one, that before when you wake up and you're ready to leave, everything has to be ready, right?
Yeah.
You have to have extra of everything on the boat, extra gear, first aid, CO2, everything that you need for you to be successful. And just think mentally before you even leave, okay, hey, listen, do I have 2 or 3 of everything extra? Mm-hmm. So when it does go back, we can just go ahead and replace it with another one and fix whatever we have to later. Right? So that's one of them. And you're right, getting gear out here, you can't get gear out here, especially where we're at. You know, we're 7-8 hours away from any big town right now. Mm-hmm. You can't get, even in the big towns, you can't get that gear out here.
Right.
So that's probably just on the pre-prep for actually going out spearfishing, right? Yeah. And when you get on the boat with the people you're going at, and mentally at that point, you're like, okay, I have all my gear, I have all my backup, I have all my safety, we're good to go. Then it kind of falls down to who's my backup, right? And my backup is some of my captains. I like to say, like, I have some of the best captains in Baja, hands down. And the reasoning why I feel like I have some of the best captains is, one, I spent thousands of dollars on the wrong captains. Mm-hmm. I've seen having the wrong captains, guys who aren't paying attention to your divers. They're not watching floats. They're out there maybe fishing while you're fishing. There's just a lot of captains out here that just aren't the right ones. I have to be real with you on there. And then when you find the right one, right? You find the right guy. You're like, this is the guy. He's taking care of us. He's watching us every second. When there is an emergency situation, he's on it, right? Mm-hmm. So once I find the right guy and I feel 100% comfortable with him, then I'm like, okay. That kind of puts a lot of the ease off of me. Me personally, I don't like going out with new captains anymore, right? If I don't know the guy, I don't know what village I'm in, and it's a brand new captain, if it's my backyard and I'm leading, I'm not that comfortable with it. If maybe I'm just spearfishing with some friends in some area, okay, I could feel a little bit comfortable. So, one, just being prepared. 2, just knowing that my captain's got my back on there.
Yeah.
And then the third is like, so there's so many moving parts in spearfishing, right? But one way that you can definitely kind of just put it in the books as you get your customers, as you get your clients, your spearos, having good briefings with them, right? Mm-hmm. Telling them exactly how it's going to go, kind of what to expect for the day, and then safety. Drill in the safety with them, right? I like safe divers who stick right next to each other. One goes down, the other one's watching, the other one's back. If there's a fish, he's there. If he needs a second diver to come down, he's there. He's always there, adequate, and being prepared, right? And I've seen a lot of good divers, and I've seen a lot of bad divers out there, right? And so, like, bad divers will be one's 20 meters this way, the other one's 20 meters this way. They're both going down, and they're trying to shoot fish. And it's like, hey, that's a bad diver.
Does that come down to selfishness? Like, where's that born from?
You could kind of say, maybe a little selfishness, but like also some guys, I know they're just really confident. They're really good divers. Like they're incredible. They're 100-meter divers. Some of these guys, and they don't just really dive with a partner. They just get a gun and they do their own thing. And I'm not bashing these guys or anything like that. I know a lot of them. I've fished with a lot of them. That's their own thing, but it's just not safe, because when it goes wrong fast down there.
Well, even when, like, say the wreck we were diving the other day, I really appreciated that you'd be like, hey, can you watch? I'm about to drop down here and see if I can find a fish. We think it's about 70 feet deep. Like, cool. I can go get you out of 70 feet of water if I need to. Mm-hmm. I'd prefer to get you out of like 55 feet of water.
That'd be easier.
If at all possible. That'd be ideal. But 70, no problem. I can do it. However, I can't see you when you're on the bottom in that water.
Mm-hmm.
So you drop down there. I really appreciate that you have that white on the top of your hood.
Yeah.
Because as soon as you start back up, I can see that before I can see anything else. And yeah, you start to come back up and you're looking around and you hit the surface and you take your recovery breaths and then you tell everybody around about what you saw and what the plan is. It's really nice. Like that communication element is huge. And I think it's one of the things that makes a difference between like qualities of guides, right?
Yeah.
This is largely a communication job. There's skill requirements. There's lots of people who have the skill. There's lots of people who are good divers. There's lots of people who know where the fish are. But if they aren't good communicators, then that stuff doesn't matter in a guiding scenario.
100%.
Yeah.
100%. Yeah, I mean, I've been diving now for like 20 years, spearfishing on and off, ever since I was a little kid in Florida. And it's just kind of always been drilled into us, right? Mm-hmm. Dive with your partner, let everyone know what's going on there. And yeah, I could do that 70-foot drop and come up and have no issues, right? But if I'm talking to you about it and I'm saying, hey, we need to do safety and we need to do one up, one down and watch each other's back, who am I to then go jump down there and do the dive and not have someone watch my back?
Yeah. It's important to set the example.
Yeah. And even in 70 feet, I would say is like kind of shallowish, just shallow water. Things can go wrong, man. Especially we're at the shipwreck there. You never know. I can't tell you the amount of times.
You get hung up on something that you didn't see.
Yeah. You bump your head. You get hung up. Maybe there's something down there and it gets you, right? I mean, maybe you landed on a stingray when you went to go lay down on the bottom. Any of these things that could happen to you coming on up, maybe the stingray stung you. You let all your air out. You're on the panic on the surface. Whatever it can be, you want someone to be there. You want someone to be watching your back. And I can't stress safety more. And also, I can't stress it to my divers. Every time I go out, I tell my divers exactly what I expect of them and their dive partners. And then I also tell them, hey, listen, if you guys don't want to follow these rules and regulations, that's fine. You guys can go diving tomorrow with somebody else. Mm-hmm. But I am going to take your finances and leave.
Yeah.
And so in their head, instantly they're thinking, they're like, man, if I go ahead and disappoint Angelo and I'm a bad diver, he's going to not only be upset, but then he's going to take my money and leave, right? They don't want that.
And by bad diver, you don't mean maybe they can't hit a certain depth or anything like that. It's just like, do they have their buddies back or not?
Absolutely. Yeah. Absolutely not. No. It doesn't matter the depth that you're hitting. That has nothing to do with it, right? I'm talking about if you have your buddies back, you're aware, you're conscious, you're watching them, and you're there to help them out no matter what, right? Mm-hmm. And what I mean no matter what, maybe they shot a little 15-pound grouper and they're bringing their line up, and then you swim down and you help them out with it as a 40-pound wahoo is swimming by or something, right? You don't want to be selfish. Yeah, that 40-pound wahoo swam by. Maybe it was the fish of your life you could have gotten on the shot, right? But it's more important you go down there and you help your buddy because you don't know what's happening with him mentally.
Right.
You help him out with his fish. You bring him up. You make sure he's breathing. Everything's all good. And he says, hey, all right, hey, now it's time to go ahead and get that wahoo or something like that. Because that's what's really important there.
Yep.
You go out there and you come back with all your friends, right? We have no issues, no injuries, anything like that. And if you can keep it like that, as in me, as if I can keep my organization running like that, I feel completely safe taking everyone out there in the water.
There are some mandatory questions that I have to ask that people want to know. Maybe they aren't the most interesting questions to you or to me, but people want to know.
Oh, good.
How deep can you dive?
I think I maxed out at 144 foot. That was like my maximum dive that I've done. And I felt really comfortable at 144 foot. No problems at all, no squeezes. I've been training up to that depth there. And I did the 144. I did that one time here in Mexico, and I did it over in Baja as well. And I feel 100% comfortable at that depth. Now, when I'm hunting, I like to hunt right around 100, 110 maybe. Right around that depth, I feel extremely comfortable. I can go down, I can pull the trigger, I can go down, I can lay down. I have no problem going 100 foot, laying down, looking around, maybe do a minute down there, come on up. 2 minutes and 40 seconds, 2 minutes, 50 seconds at that depth and doing a dive, I feel comfortable with. And I never really push it past that, right? I feel comfortable at that depth. That's where I'll stay at unless I do some more training and I feel like I can go a little bit more. But I just kind of stay at that comfort level. I never once come up from my dive gassed, tired, feeling like, hey, this is a really bad situation. Anytime that I start to get tired and I feel uncomfortable, I normally either shallow way up or I put myself back on the boat.
Yeah.
Right? I just kind of look at everyone. I say, well, guys, that was great.
Yeah.
I'm going to go back to the boat for a bit.
I did it today after about 4 hours of blue water drifting and, got my first wahoo today.
Yeah,
I couldn't
that
be
was
more
cool.
stoked about that. We're going to have some wahoo sashimi here in a little bit. But after about 4 hours, I was pretty tired, and I got back in the boat and took my mask off, blew all the boogies out of my nose, which just accumulates and makes it that much harder to equalize. And then we got set up for a drift again. And I was like, no, gonna take a breather for a minute.
Yeah.
And like nobody's giving you a hard time about that.
No,
Yeah.
you got to know your limits, man.
Yeah.
It's
It's like there's a time to push and time to not. Static breath hold. Where are you maxing out?
I did like a 6-minute, 6 something like that here in Mexico, and I haven't really done too much static stuff, right? I know I was to do more static training. I had a friend, and she was like a really good instructor, and we came over, and we did a couple of them. It was like 4 minutes, 5 minutes, went up to 6 minutes on my static. But besides that, I can't really say that I really do too much any of the static training or anything like that. I do enjoy line training, and so I'll go with some of my buddies down in La Ventana, and we'll do line training a couple days,
Yeah.
We'll do 3-4 days of line training. I'll join their school, or we'll go out with friends, and we'll do line training, and maybe the first couple of them, I'll just go down 20 meters, and I'll do hangs. I like hangs. That's kind of my thing. So I'll go down 20 meters and
66 feet.
Yeah, 66 feet, and I'll go down there, I'll do a hang, and then I'll go down to like maybe 100 foot, and I'll do another hang, which people, a lot of free divers kind of say, oh, you shouldn't be hanging down at that depth, and I would have to disagree a little bit at that point, because I'm normally laying down at that depth, right? So I enjoy the hangs a lot, and after a couple of days of doing the hangs, then we start doing some PBs again, right? Like, all right, then we're going to start doing 120 foot, 130 foot, 140 foot again, and just seeing how comfortable you are. I've been to 140 foot multiple times since my PB, but like I said, I just feel comfortable there, and I know if I wanted to give it a little bit more, I could. I just haven't pushed it past that limit just yet.
A question I'll ask that I think most people will be surprised by the answer is, what kind of cigarettes do you like to smoke?
Oh, man. Marble Lights or maybe a vaporizer or something like that, and, they have this whole thing that free divers shouldn't smoke, and that's all right. I understand. I might not be in the same category as these guys.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But you're still laying on the bottom for a minute at 100 feet and holding your breath for 6 minutes.
Way too easy.
Yeah. All right. The last one I've got to ask, just to make everybody happy. Shark encounters.
Oof, I've had a lot of sharky experiences, especially living in Maui. I lived in Maui for a while, and we did a lot of spearfishing there. I'll tell you my funniest one.
Okay.
My funniest one's right here. We're doing a drift from Malika Gulch, and we're coming into Ho'okipa, and Ho'okipa's this surfing beach, and it was pretty calm, but there's still some waves out there, and there's a very small entrance. And we had a whole bunch of fish hanging on our buoy, which is like a line attached to your gun that goes out to your buoy, and the buoy's just floating there, and it has all your fish. Well, we were going out there, and as we're coming around, I brought like one of my friends, Dalton. He's a newer diver, and I brought him with us. And a black tip and a nice reef shark come, and they just start hounding my fish, right? And he is freaking out. He's like on the surface splashing. He comes up to me. He's like, dude, there's sharks. There's sharks. I'm like, hey, calm down. It's fine. It's fine, right? Just calm down. And then I did something I shouldn't have, which is I dropped down about 10 feet, and I just watched him eat my fish. I thought it was pretty funny. But then I thought about it. I looked at him, and he's like, I'm alone at the surface, and the sharks are coming. But that wasn't the best part. The best part is there was one head of a fish left on the stringer. And I was like, cool, the sharks ate. We're good to go. come into the beach. I then get out of the water, and I start pulling the buoy in, and there's some kid who's getting in the water, and he's swimming out, and one of the shark hits the buoy and goes airborne, and everyone on the beach just now sees that a shark is hitting the buoy. It's airborne. The buoy's airborne. The kid's freaking out, paddling as fast as he can. And then they just chomp the buoy as much as possible. And I pull it on in, and the whole beach is just quiet, staring at me. And I'm like, oh, man, this is bad. And like, my friend Dalton's freaking out. He's like, dude, bad idea. Oh. So that was my funniest one. Sketchiest one had to also been in Hawaii as well. We're diving in an area where had really good fish, and we've scored some really good fish. Right around 70 or 80 feet is where the good fish were. So we'd always go down there. We'll go and score some fish and come up. But the visibility wasn't that great, right? You go down 20 feet, you lose your dive partner somewhere around there. So I went down, and I'm hanging out down there. I'm looking for the fish. I don't see anything, and I start coming up, and as I come up, I take a peek at my dive partner, and he is booming it towards me, right? And I'm like 20 feet, something like that, and normally you don't kind of rocket down to that 20-foot marker when you're coming up and you know your partner that they're comfortable, and I'm like, something's not right. Something's just not right. I'm like, why is he bumping it so fast at me right now? And I look down, and there's a 13-foot tiger shark that's vertical, and she's coming, and she's pumping her tail directly at me. Something like a Jaws movie almost, right? Where she's vertical right underneath me as I was kicking. I was like, oh, that's what he was talking about. And I think the reason why there's so much fish there is because these big sharks, no one wants to fish in this area, right? And they're aggressive. So I'm like, okay, cool. I get up to the surface. She comes up, and then she makes full contact with me. I have my spear gun, and I just kind of point it out just a little bit where it just touches her just on the side. But when she comes to make full eye contact, she's already closed her eyelid, which is a sign of like, hey, I'm going to come and just check you out, right? I'm going to see, are you food or not? And that's exactly what she was doing. So I went ahead and gave her a little poke there, kind of kept her at bay. And as I did that, she then pushed against it and kind of just kept rubbing in to a point where like I was like, man, this thing's kind of strong, pushing towards it, right? And then just kept coming circles, back in, full contact, circles, back in, full contact. And me and my dive partner were looking at each other, and we're like, it was a big, long tiger shark, but she was also skinny, right? So it kind of looked to us like she was like malnourished and she needed to eat something.
Yeah.
Well, we eventually got on the boat. She scared us out of the water. 2 weeks later, some free swimmer around the same area ended up getting eaten by a tiger shark. And we called each other on the phone, and we're like, dude, that was her.
Yeah.
100%.
She's not so skinny now.
She ate that free swimmer out there in Maui. And we just started kind of laughing. We're like, yeah, I mean, not saying it's a funny situation, but
it feels good to not die.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
So it feels good to not die.
I'd have to say that's probably my sketchiest shark story that I have there. And if he wasn't there, and if he didn't do that bomb, there's a good chance that I wouldn't have even noticed, and it may have had a chomp out of me.
Yeah.
100%.
Yeah. And to be fair, like these are mandatory spearfishing conversations. However, most of the time, sharks, even if they're present, are not a significant factor. I feel very comfortable being around sharks in the water most of the time.
Yeah.
Angelo, if somebody wants to book a spearfishing trip, if they want to just go diving and see marine life, if they want dive training, how do they get a hold of you?
Oh, easy, man. I own a little dive shop down in La Ventana. It's called La Ventana Dive Center. We're located in this like sweet little resort called Baja Joe's on the beach. I just have this like cool little dive shop and community. Anyone's welcome to come stop by, or they can just message us on Instagram, Facebook, anything like that. Feel way more than free just to go and message the dive shop, say, hey, I'm interested in going on a dive trip, and then just kind of explain it to us, right, what they want to do. And what I like to say is I run a little fun factory, right? And if they want anything like that, we can make the fun happen, and we just go out and have a good time. And, you know, I also have Instagram and stuff like that, but the easiest way to get it all booked in is just to message the company, and I'll get back to them.
Okay, awesome. And he does actually respond to people. I know this firsthand. So our food just showed up. Sorry, folks. I know that I'm cutting this podcast about half an hour short, but we will do another episode at the end of this week to wrap this trip up, and we'll fill you in on all the other spearfishing and some more stories, and we'll talk about the $1 sailboat.
Oh, yeah. We'll get into the dollar sailboat. That's going to take a little bit, but let's do it.
All right, brother.
That sounds awesome.
Let's go eat some wahoo.
Cool, man. Thanks for having me out, man.
Cheers.
Thank you to everyone who has taken the time out of their busy lives to write a review for the show and share it with their friends. I'm extremely proud of how intelligent, engaged, and adventurous this audience is. Original music for the Six Ranch podcast is written and performed by Justin Hay. Art for the Six Ranch podcast was created by John Chatelain and digitized by Celia Harlander. Thanks for listening, and we'll see you again next week.